Good morning, Hobbits. I hope you're enjoying the book so far. So yesterday I asked you if you liked my reading to you and helping you to understand the text, doing it that way. And I asked if there was other things that I could do. So after looking at your survey results, it seems like it's a little bit split. So some of you like my reading to you and explaining that as we go, and some of you prefer to read on your own, and that's fine too. So today I'm just going to make this video about how to do the assignment. And then I'm going to put out a separate video that's not an ed puzzle, that's optional, that shows me reading to you. So I'm not going to read the entire chapter to you, but I'll read a portion of that, especially the part that I think is the hardest to understand. So I'll do that for those of you who prefer that. But that will be optional. This ed puzzle I would like you to watch, but the other one is optional. Okay, so today's assignment is going to be the remainder of Chapter 1. So that's pages 33 through 44. And I just have some questions for you today and some of our opinions too. So most of these are pretty basic questions that go in order of the rest of the chapter, but there's a couple that I want to talk about right here. So many of you ask what happens to Bilbo afterwards. Why does he disappear? Where does he go? What was with the flash of light when he left? So those questions are going to be answered for you here soon. And you're going to see an interaction between Gandalf and Bilbo about the ring. And so here, I want to point out two questions, 4 and 5. Just want to talk about directions here. So it says, what evidence is there the ring has power over Bilbo? You're going to see quite a few examples of that throughout the rest of this chapter. I would like you to incorporate at least 2 quotes to support your answer. And this should be multiple sentences. You can tell here by the point totals here, when it's something that's like 4 points, you should have more than one sentence there. And I want to talk about this word incorporate. So when I say incorporate 2 quotes in your answer, I don't want you to just list 2 quotes and be done. I want you to do your own explaining and do your own wording in between those quotes too, and weave those quotes into your answer. Sort of like if you were making chocolate chip cookie dough. Okay, you have a bunch of different ingredients, so like your quotes are like the chocolate chips. You incorporate those in, but they're not the whole batter. They're a mixture. They're part of the batter. So you want to make sure you incorporate your quote in. Don't just put a quote down like a list and move on. You want to incorporate that into your answer. Same thing with this next one, but this one you just need to incorporate 1 quote, not 2. You probably could incorporate 2 quotes. There are a couple different possibilities for answers there. But there's evidence that Gandalf thinks the ring is dangerous too. That occurs kind of in the middle of what you read and towards the end of what you read. So there's a couple possibilities for quotes there. Okay, a couple other questions I want to talk about. All right, this one, and I'm not giving anything away. I'm not spoiling anything for you yet because we know that Bilbo leaves. And Bilbo leaves some gifts, packages, some things that he had in his house to some of his relatives or friends. So on page 39 at the very, very bottom, and mostly on page 40 at the top, you are going to see some messages that Bilbo leaves to his family. And it's attached to some sort of gift he gives them. But you're going to see that these messages and gifts are sarcastic. Okay, they're ironic. They're the opposite of what you would expect sometimes. And he's not being genuine or sincere, and they're meant to be insults. And I actually want you to use your imagination. We're going to practice some writing style today, and I want you to try to make up your own. Okay, you can pick a Hobbit name. It could be anything you want. Okay, it could be something you were inspired by when you saw chapter 1, or it could be, you know, from that Hobbit name generator. Maybe pick a name there. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. You're going to make it up. Okay, this does not have to be based on a real person, but you could use real people in your life to inspire you. So I'm going to go over a couple of these on page 40 if you want to look there. So he says, for Dora Baggins, in memory of a long, and he capitalizes long, L-O-N-G, correspondence with love from Bilbo, on a large waste paper basket, so like a trash can. And it says, Dora was Drogo's sister and the eldest surviving female relative of Bilbo and Frodo. She was 99 and had written reams, meaning lots, okay, paper after paper, of good advice for more than half a century. So if you think about that, he's insulting her in a couple of ways. So she writes advice, but he gives her a trash can. So what does that mean about her advice? It means he thinks her advice is trash, that it should go in the trash can. And he capitalizes the word long correspondence, like L-O-N-G, long. And he says, you know, that she was writing all that advice in reams of paper. So he's basically saying that she was really long-winded and her advice wasn't helpful and it should all just go in the trash. So it's an insult, and it's ironic. It's the opposite of what you would think. It's not a genuine gift. Another one for Milo Burrows, hoping it will be useful from BB, meaning Bilbo Baggins, on a gold pen and ink bottle. Milo never answered letters. So again, a sarcastic gift here. Milo never answers his letters, so he gives them, here's some stationery, here's a pen, write to me, okay, that sort of thing. Another one here, for Angelica's use, from Uncle Bilbo, on a round convex mirror. She was a young Baggins and too obviously considered her face shapely. So apparently she's very full of herself. She thinks she's very pretty. She thinks she's a hot hobbit. And so she's looking at herself in the mirror all the time. And so that's what Bilbo gifts to her as a mirror. Now, there are a couple other ones here, too. For the collection of Hugo Brace Girdle from a contributor on an empty bookcase. Hugo was a great borrower of books and worse than usual at returning them. So he keeps taking all of Bilbo's books. So Bilbo gives him an empty bookcase, basically kind of saying like, hey, you already took all my books, so why don't you take the bookcase too? So it's meant to be kind of an insult, kind of a funny way of getting rid of some of his things after he leaves. So I'd like you to make something up. Try that. Maybe think of a situation where maybe you have a friend or a family member and you kind of have a pet peeve about them, and what would you leave to them if you could? So I might not share that with them. You might want to keep that on the down low. But anyhow, try to use that as your inspiration for it. Okay, there's some rude hobbit behavior after Bilbo leaves that Frodo has to deal with. So describe at least two situations there. This word prompted, meaning like what caused him to say this. So there's a quote that Gandalf has towards the end. So I want you to think about what prompted or caused him to say that happened in the chapter. And let's see, this one is just kind of a fun opinion one. So after having read about hobbits in the prologue and in this chapter, what would you like or dislike about being a hobbit if you were one? Okay. And I'd like you to describe at least two reasons or two opinions on that. And then as always, ask me a question here if you have one. Okay, that's the assignment for today, and you guys are doing a great job. Again, many of the questions that I saw that you had yesterday had to do with where does Bilbo go, why does he leave? You're going to find that out today, I promise. So I didn't answer some of those for you. So I'll answer some of those more individual questions for you on your papers later, but that was probably the biggest question that I saw. All right, enjoy reading the rest of chapter 1 and have a great day.